very, very raw quarterback. And the fact of the matter is, here we are, a couple years in. They redshirted him a year. He lost a year because of injury. Now we're in year 3, and you got people speaking definitively, like for sure he's a bust. Those people are going to wind up eating those words. This kid is not a bust. He's going to be really, really good. Now, it may not be by week 1 this year, and I don't expect it to be by week 1 this year. But I'll say this, I'm very much in the camp that the 49ers don't have a franchise quarterback, that they have 2 franchise quarterbacks. One is Brock Purdy, and the other is Trey Lance. Purdy is ready to play right now. He showed it last year. Lance is not ready to play right now based on what I've seen, but maybe, that opinion will evolve here in the next few weeks. But I really think that long term, I still think Trey Lance is a really, really good quarterback. And I think if the 49ers decide to part ways with him, they will rue the day they did. This is not the quarterback that you want to get off of. He's too smart, too athletic. Football's too important to him. There's too many great traits attached to Trey Lance to want to separate from him just because it hasn't happened right away. You have to show patience with Trey Lance. The fans do, and hopefully the Niners will.
888-957-9570 if you want to get in on the conversation. Evan Giddings and Larry Krueger in for Stein and Guru. The boys will be back tomorrow. I think that's part of why this conversation is so fascinating, Larry, about the quarterbacks and why all eyes are on that position is because of that kind of gray area that you touched on that I think is hard for some people to wrap their minds around. You can like Trey Lance while also liking Brock Purdy and understanding that based on what everything has come out of the 49ers' mouths, that Brock Purdy, if healthy, is going to be the week 1 starter, but that doesn't make Trey Lance a bust. I mean, how do you kind of, I guess, navigate those waters of the likability of both? Because Trey Lance has his entire future ahead of him, but I think people just assume because Brock Purdy won every game he played and finished last year, and he's supposed to be, the next man up at the beginning of this season when and if he clears all the obstacles or the hurdles to return from injury. Like, a lot of people, both on the YouTube chat on the text line, are talking about how, Trey Lance is perceived as this, and he's that, and he's bad, and Purdy's good. It's not that black and white. And to me, I don't feel like the 49ers should give up on Trey Lance, partially because I think they need him as a contingency plan, but also that doesn't mean that Brock Purdy shouldn't get first dibs if and when he's ready.
I mean, there is no debate. Brock Purdy played and played well. I mean, if the job is to win games and play efficiently, then it's his job. I mean, seriously. I laugh at it sometimes when we talk about it. The Niners went 7-0 in games that Brock Purdy started and finished. He's like the third rookie in 52 years to win 2 playoff games. What he did last year was incredibly special, and it's too bad because we're so kind of everything's a competition, and there can only be really one starter, and I get it, but I don't get this. I'm a Brock guy. I'm a Trey guy. I don't get it. Are you a Niner fan? I mean,
yeah.
If you're a Niner fan, you should be in on both of these guys.
Exactly.
I believe in both these guys. Now, I don't believe. It's not like I believe in everybody. I don't believe that much in Sam Darnold. I really don't. I saw him at USC. Turned it over a ton. Saw him with the Jets. He turned it over a ton. I watched him with Carolina at the end of last year. I've got the NFL Plus. I've watched the All 22 on all of his games that he played with Carolina. He had some good games. I saw him at the end of the year against the Saints in Week 18. He had 4 turnovers. He had 2 interceptions. He had 2 fumbles. He looked terrible. He had like 41 passing yards. So this idea that like Sam Darnold is somehow this awesome guy that has just, you didn't see the end of his career at Carolina and what he did. I'm not impressed. I'm not. I mean, he'll be better here because of Shanahan. He'll be better here because of the weapons. He'll be better here because of the line. I mean, he'll be better because the surrounding cast is better. But this idea that Sam Darnold is some superstar and that the Niners have stumbled on this, I don't buy it. I'm not buying it. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll prove to be a superstar, but I don't really believe in him. I do believe that Trey Lance is going to get there. And I don't know that it's going to be by preseason. I don't know if it's going to be by week 1.
Yeah.
To me, there's no doubt that Brock's the starter, and if he's healthy, and that he'll play well. All these other people, he can't get any better. Why? I mean, that's the dumbest take of all time. I asked Brock about a month and a half ago at the minicamp. I said, where are you now compared to where you were at last year at this time? And he's like, oh, God, it's night and day. Last year, I was just trying to remember the plays. Last year, I'd walk to the line of scrimmage and trying to remember the formation and the play. And now I know all the plays. I know the playbook, backward, forward. I know the nuance of every play. I mean, so he's going to be quite a bit better than he's been as long as that elbow, and he hasn't, checks out. He hasn't lost strength. He hasn't lost explosive ability in that elbow. As long as he's healthy and he's the same player, he's going to make mental strides that should. You got to remember this. Matt Ryan was pretty ordinary year 1 in Kyle's system. Year 2, he won the MVP of the league. So it's a complicated system. It's not an easy system. And I thought Alex Smith had some really interesting things to say about Purdy.
He did, and I want to get to those in a sec. But you mentioned something about Darnold that, and I hope you can kind of help me out with this theory I have, that the reason why the sentiment around Sam Darnold of him, it sounds like potentially being a backup quarterback this season for the 49ers, even if you disagree with it, is because I feel like there is this place where Kyle Shanahan wants to have a comfortability with his quarterbacks. Brock Purdy showed it in the 7 or 8 games that he played last season, and so that's why in my mind he's first up if he's healthy. Sam Darnold's played 55 games in the NFL, and like you mentioned, not all of them have been good. In fact, the majority of probably haven't been very good. He's been below average in his first 2 stops in the NFL.
Worse than that, even. He's got the lowest passer rating
there you go.
of any quarterback since he's been in the league. Of 36 quarterbacks, he had a 78.2 passer rating since he came into the league. That's the lowest in the entire league.
Translation, not good.
Not good.
But I do think with Shanahan, because there is no question mark, or there doesn't seem to be a question mark about him, like he knows what Sam Darnold can and cannot do from having seen those paltry numbers the first 3 years in his career. I do think there is a place where if Brock Purdy is delayed or he's not there ready for week 1, or he befalls injury and is out for a couple of weeks, something that's not season ending, there's something in my mind, Larry, that tells me, and you can tell me this fair or foul, that Kyle Shanahan just wants to know what he's getting at quarterback instead of throwing a question mark in there, even if the question mark is far more potential, and that would be Trey Lance. That's, to me, the reasoning behind why Sam Darnold is gaining this traction as a potential backup quarterback.
Well, I mean, part of it is the money they gave him, right? They gave him $3.5 million guaranteed.
It's a lot for a third-string quarterback.
It's a lot. Sam Darnold has the 12th highest cap figure on the entire team. So are you giving the 12th highest cap figure on the entire team to your third-string quarterback when the average third-string quarterback in the NFL is making $1 million, and you're going to pay your guy $5 million? You're going to pay your third-string quarterback 5 times what everybody else in the NFL is paying their third-string quarterback? Maybe. You can get away with it because you're paying Purdy $840,000. But, I mean, I think that's part of it. I think also the 49ers are looking at Trey, and they just don't know. They just don't know what he has.
Exactly.
And last year they were willing to maybe lose some games early for his development. It sounds like they're not in that mode this year, and they're not sure where he is developmental-wise. And so I just think that they vowed the same thing that all Niner fans vowed when they saw the final 3 quarters of the Eagle game, which is, this can't happen again. You know what I mean? This can't happen again, where this team that's super stacked and loaded and has all this talent on both sides of the football runs out of quarterbacks, or they lose a game because their quarterback's just not ready to go. So I think that's what Darnold's doing here. I think that's what Allen's doing here, is that they just don't want to be caught in a situation where they don't have another guy to go to. And maybe Jed has said to them, hey, guys, quarterback whatever will not be an acceptable excuse if we huddle at the end of next season. Maybe he said that. He might have been very clear with them and said, hey, you know what? We've been in 3 of the last 4 NFC Championship games. John, we love you. Kyle, we love you. By the way, we're not giving away another year to quarterback whatever. Okay? Do we got that? You get it? Okay. And maybe that's for all we know, that's their marching orders. And if that's their marching orders, then yeah, stack the room with as many qualified NFL caliber quarterbacks as you can, and let the competition commence, and let's see what you got.
And where are you at with the competition? At 888-957-9570 from the 480. Lori's weighing in from Phoenix. It's about to give the 49ers the best chance to win, is ready to play now. This roster is built to get back to a Super Bowl. Can't be experimenting with the quarterback now. I'm generally with her, but also, I mean, really, you're experimenting because nobody is right now a known and valuable, commodity between Darnold, Purdy, or Lance. There's a hierarchy, but each one, in my opinion, has question marks. The one at the top currently is Brock Purdy, and it sounds like Daniel Martinez wants to weigh in on that. What's up, Daniel? You're on with Larry and Evan here on 95.7 The Game. How are you?
Larry and Evan, how are you guys doing today? I'm doing great, thank you.
Good, man.
Thank you for taking my call.
Yep.
Brock Purdy gives us the best chance to win right now. He was great in college. He had a 150 QBR rating. He started his freshman year. He started after I think from week 3 until he graduated, and he was just the starter the whole time. And all he did was do well. And he comes in to San Francisco and goes 7-0. And if he doesn't get hurt in that game, we don't know what happens. I just think that he's the man. And I understand that we have 2 other top 5 picks, and Lance and Darnold, but Purdy is just he knows a way to manage the game. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Peyton Manning. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Tom Brady, and I just want to see him succeed.
Don't we all?
Yeah, I mean that's a fair comment. All I'd say is this: here's a fact: the 49ers have used 3 quarterbacks in a season in each of the last 6 seasons, excluding the 2019 season. So the bottom line is you need more than one guy. It's a rough game. Guys get hurt. It's just the way it is. And last year they ran out of quarterbacks in the biggest game of the year. And we just watched one of the ugliest NFC Championship games ever because of it. They ran out of quarterbacks. So they don't want that to happen again. And as far as Brock and what Brock's got, Alex Smith said it. He's like, there's a lot of factors when it comes to quarterback. You can talk about height. You can talk about his 40 time. You can talk about his arm strength. He said that stuff's secondary in the NFL. He says, I think, that it's about processing. It's what you got between the ears. And that he is all in on Brock as a processor.
Yeah, and we can actually, I do have that sound, Larry. We can run the clip. Yeah, this was from Alex Smith over the weekend talking about Brock Purdy and what he's got between the ears.
It's really between your ears. You got to be able to process a lot fast. There's not a great way to quantify that yet, right? I mean, there's in our interview process and the combine and all the weird tests you take. They haven't really found a great way to quantify that. And I think Brock showed he's got it right between the ears. It's not too big for him.
And you can tell that immediately.
This is a guy I know didn't get many reps in training camp.
Yeah.
Finally got backed up to number 2, so he's running scout team. You're still not getting many reps. And then to step in and just operate the way he did, it wasn't too big. You could see him dial in. And I know in that system there's a lot on the quarterback's plate from a processing standpoint. I think he showed enough that absolutely, he's got it. And again, height, 40, arm strength, that stuff really is secondary at the NFL level. And I think he's got the things that you're looking for to win sustainably. And again, accuracy, timing, and processing, number 1.
He's got it.
That's
per Alex Smith, he's got it.
I could not have said that better myself. That is just absolutely spot on. That's what he's got. And the key word there is sustainable or sustainability. Alex not only believes that Brock's got it, but that it's sustainable, that it's something that he is going to have going forward. And that this is not just a guy, this is your guy going forward because of these traits. We think of size, but, one of the things that matters a lot when you're talking about size is how big are your hands. Brock's got big hands. We can talk about 40 time, but your 10-yard split probably means more because you're not running 40 yards, but you are running 10 yards to get away from an NFL defensive lineman. And he's got a 1.54 10-yard split. It ain't sexy. But guess what? That gives him escapability. So it's the arm, the accuracy, the accuracy, the processing, He's got those traits that where he knows what he's looking at pre-snap. To me, there was the one thing that was really like, what's the main difference between him? A lot of people say he's the same as Jimmy. Oh, he's totally not. He's way better than Jimmy. Jimmy on the play action, the Niners stopped doing play action with Jimmy from under center and put him in the gun, because in the gun he could do the play action face without turning his back on the defense. Because when Jimmy turned his back on the defense, when he turned back around, he never was prepared to throw. He always had to reassess, where are the defenders? Where are my receivers in the route? Who's open? He had to kind of look at that picture again. And then after he got a full second in it, then he's making a throw. Where you saw Brock several times, he's under center, play action pass, staple of Kyle's offense. He carries out the mesh point on the handoff to the running back, keeps the ball, flips around. As he's flipping around, he is literally got this arm up and he knows where he's going with it, and he's about to release it. That is head and shoulders better than Jimmy Garoppolo. And the play action game is a major component of the Niners offense under Kyle Shanahan. So to me, that's just one element where Brock's clearly more advanced than Jimmy. He doesn't need to turn around and then reassess the picture. He knows in his head where everybody's going to be, and so he's delivering the ball as soon as he's flipping around. And that level of not just efficiency, but quickness in the recognition is a big part of getting the ball out on time. Then, of course, your accuracy is your accuracy, but that's a big part of it. And to me, that was clear that Purdy was better than Garoppolo even 2-3 games in last year.